For many people, the core message of what Oregairu is trying to say is a show about the struggles of communication and how we can hope to one day understand each other on a genuine level. To me, however, Oregairu is a series that reminds me of everything I used to hate about myself. I distinctly remember watching the first season of Oregairu back in 2013, and during that part of my life, I was exactly like Hachiman, being this overly cynical and pessimistic high school kid who assumed the worst about life and the people around me. I used to believe that most people in high school were just superficial and that they didn't deserve my time or attention. Besides a few close friends, I didn't really put in the effort to get to know or socialize with my other classmates. I've always hated the idea of small talk because for me, it feels like you're not actually having a proper conversation. You're supposed to be polite, ask how are you doing, and move on with your life. It does and still feels a bit fake for me, even to this day. When I initially finished watching the first season of Oregairu, I thought that Hachiman was a great character in that he personified so much about myself and the feelings I had around me at the time. Just like Hachiman, I convinced myself that I was better than those around me. Why should I engage with people that I thought were beneath me? I don't care about what they think or how they view me. Popularity was just a social construct which favored the extroverts in life and those foolish enough to care about what others think of them. I was better than this because I didn't care about such useless and unnecessary things in life, is what I thought. After putting off watching the second season of Oregairu for many years, I recently finished it and my thoughts on the series as a whole could not be more different. I expected it to be more or less the same as season 1 with Hachiman still being at the center of what the show is about. However, I don't find that to be the case anymore. For me, I always thought of Yui being this bubbly and energetic girl who didn't really have much going on in her life. She provided a gentle levity to the series which I thought was nice, but overall was superficial. That could not be further from the truth now. Yui's struggles and experiences as a person is the best representation of what the underlying ethos of the series is, to find something genuine. And today I want to take you on a journey of why I think Hachiman isn't the heart and soul of the series anymore, but rather why it's now Yui. Throughout the course of the series, Hachiman believes that a world where no one gets hurt and everybody is free of pain is an ideal place that everyone would want to be in. Yet, he's mistaken with that mentality. You can never have something truly genuine if you never put your real self out there and become vulnerable to the people around you. Putting on a mask as a front to hide your true emotions will never improve you to be a better person. You'll stagnate in life and be put behind those who push themselves forward, and that's where Hachiman is right now. He likes to believe that he is all alone, that no one would actually genuinely care for him as a person, and it's the reason why he self-sacrifices to keep Hayato's friendship group intact, even if it was fake in his eyes. To him, it doesn't matter what kind of self-deprecating stunt he has to do in order to solve people's problems, because he couldn't care less about what others think of him. However, it's precisely because of his mindset that he's unable to consider why Yui and Yukino would be upset over his actions. He doesn't realize that he's not alone anymore, that his method of self-sacrifice, which might have worked in the past, doesn't work now because of the people who care for him. Hachiman may not care about his sense of self-worth, but the people around him do, and it's something he has to come to terms with if he ever hopes of finding a genuine connection. It's even shown early on in season 2 that both Yui and Yukino consider him a close friend, but Hachiman himself doesn't recognize this. They stand up for Hachiman when Hayato and Tobe seek help from the service club, but badmouth him on the way in, saying that he isn't trustworthy to keep their secrets. Of course, Hachiman himself doesn't care and takes no offense to the offhanded comments, but the girls on the other hand can't accept the normalization of speaking ill about him, or more importantly, their friend. This scene establishes that while Hachiman may be able to read people's intentions, he's oblivious to the fact that there are people who actually care for him. After learning that Yukino is running for the student council, Yui decides that she too will run. All this time she's spent in the service club, Yui's never felt that she's actually done something of importance, and that she's only ever relied on the people around her. At a glance, this scene seems to be Yui wanting to compete with Yukino for the student council. However, I think it's more than that. Yui is trying to compete with Yukino's relationship with Hachiman. She says that if Yukino becomes president, it'll be the end of their club, and she's right. Yui absolutely treasures the time she spends in the club, But even deeper than that, she likes spending time with Hachiman because she's grown to love him after all this time. Even if she wouldn't outright admit it, this scene is essentially a confession of her feelings. The warm sunset enveloping both characters being a reflection of Yui's outpour of genuine emotions, her gentle smile and teary eyes going as far as to say she'll beat Yukino. This moment is Yui taking agency for herself and becoming one step closer to being her true self. When Hachiman confronts Hayato and criticizes his friendship group of being superficial, he's unaware of the fact that his words can also be used to describe his own relationship with Yui and Yukino in the service club. It's all superficial, an act where they pretend to be close to each other when they never actually talk about anything meaningful. And as tensions rise in the club, Hachiman starts to question what they were even doing together all this time. Yukino seems to be more distant than usual, and his short sentence replies aren't helping either. Yui only seems to be forcing herself to talk as to not make it awkward, but as reality sets in, their relationship in the club slowly starts to fade into obscurity. As Yukino finally confronts Hachiman under the deep blue Christmas lights about the state of their club, she says that he doesn't need to attend anymore if he was just being considerate of their feelings. Hachiman says that he wasn't, but it's in that moment where Yukino knew he was lying. The time that he recently spent there was all pretend. He knew that Yui was forcing herself to smile and was aware of how Yukino felt that their relationship was fading, yet did nothing about it. This is Hachiman's internal paradoxical dichotomy. He wants the club to return to how it used to be, how they could almost consider each other close friends, but Hachiman wants to believe that he is all alone. He doesn't want to care about other people. Yet, how can that be true if he does attend the club? Hachiman is at a loss for words. On the bridge, Shizuka-sensei teaches Hachiman an important life lesson, that while he might be smart enough to read the room and the people around him, he doesn't understand human emotions. Hachiman will calculate the most methodical of plans or logically rationalize his surroundings, yet all of that is useless in trying to understand other people. Humans aren't logical beings, they're emotional ones. If Hachiman can't understand that simple fact, then how could he find something genuine? Distancing yourself from others, acting like you're above them, or that you just don't care, how could his way of living ever be the correct one? You can't hope for a genuine connection if you're afraid of getting hurt or hurting others. If you truly care about other people, then getting hurt is inevitable. But that's not something to be sad about. The pain and struggles you'll go through just means that it was in fact genuine. It wouldn't be otherwise. The conversation that Hachiman has both with Yui and Yukino at sunset is the culmination of him putting down the walls of his facade and wanting something genuine from their relationship. It's something neither of them have ever truly talked about. Yukino is always secretive about her emotions, Yui is content with only having small talk, and Hachiman acts as if he doesn't care. But that's not what they want. To understand and be understood from others requires yourself to be vulnerable to them. It may not be something that you want to do, but it's something that's needed if you ever hope to find the real thing.
傷つけないなんてことはできないんだ。人間存在するだけで無自覚に誰かを傷つけるものさ。生きていても死んでいてもずっと傷つける。
The final scene in Season 2 cements everything that the series has slowly been building up to. Deep down, everyone knows that their group's relationship will slowly come to an end one way or another. And Yui is the first person to take that small yet scary step forward. She wants everything, even if it means being selfish. She wants to be with them now and forever, but yet can no longer hide her true feelings for Hachiman. If they were to find out how they truly feel about each other, then there's no doubt in her mind that their relationship could never remain the same. Yui finally puts herself out there of being vulnerable to others. It's something she's always wanted but never acted upon until now. In a show about adolescent teenagers trying to understand each other, Yui is the only character who actively tries to pursue it. Hachiman is stuck in his old ways, only beginning to change when he realizes that his way of doing things can't go on forever. And Yukino, despite wanting to come out of her shell and create an identity for herself, needs that extra push. While on the outside, Yui may seem oblivious to the intricacies of their group's dynamic, she's been aware of it this whole time but chose not to act on it. As Yui states herself, She's not the nice girl everyone thinks she is. Yui is a selfish person, and in order to move on in life, things have to change. To assert yourself and be true towards your own feelings for others takes immense courage, and is what makes Yui's personal struggles so endearing and inspiring to watch. And no matter what the outcome is for the final season, you can never fault her for trying, for doing her best, because it's in these moments of pain, sadness, and joy do you really find out what you're looking for. Something genuine. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.